The night shift on orbital station Carenza 7 was always quiet, but tonight felt different. Li Tay pushed his cleaning cart down the empty corridor, his footsteps echoing in the darkness. He had worked as a janitor here for 3 years now, and every day felt the same. Wake up, clean, sleep, repeat. Tay was human, which meant he was at the bottom of the station's hierarchy. The aliens who worked here, traders, diplomats, scientists, they all looked down on him. To them, humans were slow, weak, and unimportant. Tay had learned to accept this. He kept his head down and did his job. Tonight, he was cleaning the old cargo bay in Section D. Nobody used this area anymore. It was full of broken equipment and forgotten supplies. The lights flickered as Tay entered, casting strange shadows on the walls. He sighed and started sweeping the floor. Then he heard it. A small sound like a whimper. Tay stopped and listened. There it was again, coming from behind some old storage containers. He walked slowly toward the sound, his heart beating faster. The station had strict rules about stray creatures. If he found something dangerous, he should report it immediately. He moved the containers aside and froze. A small dragon sat there, trembling. It was no bigger than a cat, with dark red scales that shimmered even in the dim light. One of its wings was bent at an odd angle, clearly injured. The creature looked up at Tay with wide, frightened eyes that glowed like amber. Tay knew what this was. A Dracari hatchling. The Dracari were one of the most powerful species in the galaxy. Their empire controlled entire star systems. They were ancient, proud, and feared by everyone. And here was one of their children, alone and hurt. The hatchling made a soft crying sound. Then, in broken galactic common, it spoke. Please, can I sleep here tonight? Tay's breath caught in his throat. He should call security. He should report this immediately. The Dracari would want their hatchling back. But as he looked at the small, scared creature, all he saw was a child who needed help. Are you hurt? Tay asked gently. The hatchling nodded, tears forming in its eyes. Pirates attacked our ship. I got separated. Ember. I'm scared. Tay knelt down slowly, making himself smaller, less threatening. My name is Tay. How did you get here? I hid in a cargo container. I don't know where my family is. They won't want me back now anyway. Ember's voice was so small, so sad. Why not? Tay asked. Because I've been alone. Because I've touched things that aren't Dracari. They'll say I'm contaminated. They'll kill me. Ember started crying harder, small wisps of smoke coming from her nostrils. Tay felt his heart break. He thought about all the times he had felt alone on this station. All the times he had been ignored or dismissed because he was human. He understood what it felt like to be unwanted. He made a decision. You can stay, Tay said. Just for tonight. I'll figure something out. Ember looked up at him with hope in her eyes. Really? You're not afraid of me? Tay smiled softly. You're about the size of my boot. I think I'll be okay. For the first time, Ember made a sound that might have been a laugh. Tay carefully picked her up, being gentle with her injured wing. She was warm, almost hot to the touch, but not burning. She curled up in his arms, still trembling. Let's get you somewhere safe, Tay said. I know a place in the maintenance tunnels where nobody goes. As he carried Ember away from the cargo bay, Tay knew his life had just changed forever. He was breaking about a dozen station regulations. The Dracari would be looking for her. Security would be searching. But none of that mattered right now. Right now, a scared child needed help. And Tay wasn't going to turn her away. 3 weeks passed, and Tay's life became a secret double life. During the day, he cleaned floors and emptied trash like always. But at night, he took care of Ember in the hidden maintenance tunnels beneath the station. He brought her food from his own rations, even though it meant he often went hungry. Ember couldn't eat human food very well, but she tried because Tay gave it to her with such kindness. He wrapped her injured wing carefully with clean bandages he stole from the medical supplies. Slowly it began to heal. In return, Ember taught Tay about her world. She told him stories about the Dracari homeworld, where mountains touched the sky and rivers of fire flowed through ancient valleys. She sang him fire songs in a language that sounded like crackling flames and distant thunder. Tay didn't understand the words, but the music made him feel warm inside. Why are you so nice to me? Ember asked one night. She was getting bigger now, almost the size of a large dog. Her scales had grown brighter, healthier. Tay was fixing a broken light panel while Ember watched. Because everyone deserves someone who cares about them, he said simply. But I'm Dracari. My people think humans are weak and unimportant. Tay smiled sadly. I know. Most species think that about us. But that doesn't mean I have to think badly about you. You're just a kid who got lost. That's all that matters. Ember was quiet for a long moment. The Drakri have a word for what you are. It's Caliph. It means someone who protects without wanting anything back. We haven't had a Caliph in thousands of years. We forgot how to be like that. Well, Tay said, maybe your people just need to remember. But their peaceful time couldn't last forever. Station security had been searching for weeks. The Drakri delegation had sent special enforcers, tall warriors in black armor who scared everyone they passed. They were looking for the lost hatchling. One night, Tay came to the tunnels and found Ember crying. They're getting close, she said. I can feel them searching. Their technology can track my biosignature. They'll find me soon. Tay sat down next to her. What will happen when they find you? They'll check me. They'll see that I've been living with a human. That I've eaten your food, touched your things, maybe even. Ember paused, looking at Tay with her glowing eyes. Maybe even started to love you like family. That's forbidden. They'll say I'm corrupted. They'll kill me so I don't shame our people. That's insane, Tay said angrily. You're a child. You didn't do anything wrong. It doesn't matter. It's our law. Purity is everything to the Drakri Empire. Tay felt rage building in his chest. He had seen so much cruelty in the galaxy, so many species who cared more about rules and pride than about actual lives. But this was too much. He wouldn't let them hurt Ember. He couldn't. Then we run, Tay said. I'll get us on a ship. We'll go somewhere they can't find you. Ember shook her head. They'll hunt us forever. And you'll lose everything. Your job, your home, maybe your life. I can't let you do that for me. Why not? Tay asked. You're my friend. You're the only person on this whole station who talks to me like I matter. I'm not going to abandon you. Tears rolled down Ember's scaled cheeks, evaporating into steam before they hit the ground. Humans are strange, she whispered. Everyone says you're weak. But you're the strongest person I've ever met. The next morning the alarms went off. The enforcers had finally tracked Ember's location. Tay heard their heavy boots marching toward the maintenance tunnels. He looked at Ember and she looked back at him. Whatever happens, Tay said, I'm with you. Ember pressed her head against his hand. Whatever happens, she agreed. The door burst open and their time had run out. The Drakri enforcers filled the small tunnel, their black armor gleaming under the emergency lights. There were 5 of them, each twice as tall as Tay. Their leader, a scarred warrior named Kroth, pointed a clawed hand at Ember. Step away from the hatchling, human, Kroth commanded. His voice was deep and cold. Tay didn't move. He stood in front of Ember, his legs shaking but his face determined. No. The enforcers looked surprised. Nobody said no to them. Kroth's eyes narrowed dangerously. You dare defy us? Move or we will move you. She's hurt and scared, Tay said, his voice stronger now. She needs help, not punishment. Silence. Kroth stepped forward. You have contaminated a Drakri hatchling. You will be arrested. The hatchling will be processed according to our law. Processed? Tay felt sick. You mean killed? She told me what you do to hatchlings who've been with other species. Before Kroth could respond, something strange happened. Ember stepped out from behind Tay. Her body began to glow with a soft golden light. The temperature in the tunnel rose quickly, and the air shimmered like a heat wave. The enforcer stepped back, shocked. Impossible, one of them whispered. It's the bonding fire, another said, fear in his voice. Ember's glow grew brighter. She looked at Tay and he felt warmth spreading through his chest, like sunshine filling his heart. Images flashed in his mind, Ember's memories, her feelings, her love for him mixed with his love for her. They weren't just friends anymore. They were becoming something more, something deeper. The human is her chosen guardian, Kroth said, his voice filled with disbelief. This hasn't happened in 10,000 years. The bonding fire faded, leaving Ember glowing softly. She stood tall now, no longer scared. Lee Tay is my Caliph, she announced in a clear voice. He is my chosen family. I bond with him freely. Kroth's expression twisted with anger and confusion. This is against our ways. The ancient bonding was abandoned for good reason. We are Drakri. We do not bond with lesser species. But the law still exists, said another enforcer, an older female named Yuna. The bonding fire cannot be broken by force. It is sacred, written in our oldest codes. Those codes are outdated. Kroth shouted. But they are still law, Yuna insisted. If we break them, we are no better than criminals. The hatchling has invoked the ancient right. We must honor it. Kroth looked furious, but he knew Yuna was right. He activated his communication device. Command, we have a situation. Request immediate contact with Ambassador Choi. Within an hour, the entire station knew what had happened. The news spread like wildfire. A human janitor and a Drackery hatchling had formed a sacred bond. It was impossible. It was illegal. It was scandalous. Tay was taken to a holding cell. They separated him from Ember, and he could feel her panic through their new connection. It was like a thread connecting their hearts, and right now that thread was pulled tight with fear. Ambassador Choi arrived the next day. She was an elegant Drackery with silver scales and cold eyes. She looked at Tay like he was an insect. "You have created a diplomatic crisis, human," she said. "The Drackery High Council is in chaos. Half want to honor the ancient bonding law. Half want to execute you both as an example." "I just helped a scared child," Tay said quietly. "You corrupted a member of the greatest species in the galaxy. I gave her food and kindness. If that's corruption, then your species has bigger problems than me." Ambassador Choi's face darkened with rage. "You will face trial. The hatchling will testify. If you are found unworthy, both of you will die. That is our law." "When?" Tay asked. 3 days. The trial will be broadcast across multiple systems. The galaxy will watch as we prove that humans are not worthy of bonding with Drackery." She smiled cruelly. "Prepare yourself, Janitor. You're about to become famous before you die." The trial chamber was massive, filled with beings from a dozen different species. Cameras floated in the air, broadcasting everything to billions of viewers across the galaxy. Tay stood in the center, wearing simple gray clothes. He looked small and alone. Ember sat in a special platform nearby, surrounded by Drackery guards. She kept trying to reach Tay through their bond, sending him warmth and courage. He sent back the same. Ambassador Choi stood before the judges, 3 ancient Drackery elders who had traveled from the homeworld. "This human claims to be worthy of bonding with our hatchling," she announced. "We will prove he is not. He is weak, poor, and insignificant. He has nothing to offer." One of the elders, an ancient Drackery named Juan, spoke in a voice like grinding stones. "The trial by testament requires the hatchling to prove her guardian possesses the 4 virtues: honor, courage, compassion, and wisdom. Let us begin." A holographic screen appeared, showing Tay's personal records. Ambassador Choi smiled. "This human is a janitor. The lowest position on the station. He has no achievements, no status, no permission to speak," a voice called out. A Clorvian trader stepped forward, her green skin bright under the lights. "I wish to testify about Lee Tay." The elders nodded. The Clorvian looked at Tay and smiled. 2 years ago my daughter was sick. We had no money for medicine. This human gave us his entire week's food rations to sell so we could buy what she needed. He went hungry for 7 days. My daughter lived because of him." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Ambassador Choi looked annoyed. More people came forward. A Zentari mechanic testified that Tay fixed his broken equipment for free every week. A young Vrelian student said Tay had tutored her in Galactic Common when no one else would help. A security officer admitted that Tay had once reported a dangerous fuel leak that saved hundreds of lives, but never asked for credit. "This proves nothing," Ambassador Choi shouted. "These are just small kindnesses. Where is the honor? Where is the courage?" Elder Juan raised his hand for silence. "Bring forth the military records." A new file appeared. Tay closed his eyes, not wanting to see it. The records showed his service in the Human Defense Forces 10 years ago. There had been a battle. Tay's unit was trapped, surrounded by enemy ships. He had stayed behind, buying time for the others to escape. He was captured and tortured for 3 months before being rescued. The injuries left him unable to serve anymore. He was given a medical discharge. No ceremony, no honors, just a quiet goodbye. He had ended up on Carenza 7 because it was the only place that would hire a broken soldier. "He sacrificed everything for his people," Elder Juan said quietly, "and received nothing in return. Yet he continued to help others. This is true courage. True compassion." Ambassador Choi looked desperate now. "But what about wisdom? What wisdom does a janitor possess?" Elder Yuna, the female judge, spoke for the first time. "Let the hatchling speak. Tell us, young one, what has this human taught you?" Ember stood, her voice clear and strong. "He taught me that strength is not about power. It's about choosing kindness when the world is cruel. He taught me that family is not about blood or species. It's about who stands with you when everyone else walks away. He taught me that the smallest person can have the biggest heart." She paused, looking at the elders. "My people forgot these things. We became so proud of our power that we forgot our souls. Tay reminded me of what we used to be before we became obsessed with purity and perfection. The chamber fell silent. Elder Juan looked at his fellow judges, then at Tay. We must deliberate. But first, human, answer this question. If we offered to break the bond and return the hatchling to our people, giving her a proper Dracry life, would you accept? Tay's heart broke. But he knew what he had to do. If that's what's best for Ember, then yes. I would let her go. The chamber went completely silent. Tay felt tears running down his face, but he didn't wipe them away. Through their bond, he could feel Ember's shock and pain. You would give her up? Elder Juan asked. Even though it would break your heart? Yes, Tay whispered. Because I love her. And love means wanting what's best for the other person, even if it hurts you. Ambassador Choi smiled victoriously. There you see? Even the human admits. No. Ember's voice rang out like a bell. She jumped from her platform, her wings spread wide. She had grown much larger now, nearly the size of a horse. Golden fire surrounded her body. I refuse. I choose Tay. I choose him as my family. The elders stood up in alarm. Hatchling, you must understand. I understand perfectly. Ember's eyes blazed. You want me to forget the person who saved me, who fed me when I was hungry, who held me when I cried, the person who showed me what it truly means to be honorable. No, I won't do it. Power erupted from Ember, waves of psychic energy that made everyone in the chamber gasp. The bond between her and Tay flared like the sun. And then something incredible happened. Images filled the air, ancient memories buried deep in Dracry genetic history. Memories of the very first Dracry millions of years ago. They were not alone. They were bonded with another species, strange beings who looked almost like humans. The progenitors, Elder Yuna breathed. By the ancient fires. The memories showed Dracry and progenitors living together, fighting together, loving each other. They were partners, family. But then the progenitors disappeared, vanished from history. The Dracry survived, but they were broken by the loss. They buried the memories and convinced themselves they were better off alone. We forgot, Elder Juan said, his old voice shaking. We forgot where we came from. We forgot our first family. A scientist in the crowd ran forward with a scanning device. The human? I'm detecting genetic markers. He shares DNA patterns with the progenitors. Humans are their descendants. The chamber erupted in chaos. Dracry were arguing, crying, shouting. Some were angry. Some were amazed. Some were falling to their knees in shock. Elder Juan raised his hand and silence fell. He looked at Tay with tears in his ancient eyes. It seems the universe has a sense of humor. After 10,000 years of loneliness, our lost family has returned. And we almost killed them. He turned to Ambassador Choi. The bond is not just legal. It is sacred. It is destiny. Lee Tay and Ember are bonded, and they will remain so. Any who oppose this will answer to me. Ambassador Choi looked like she wanted to argue, but she simply bowed her head and left. Ember ran to Tay and he wrapped his arms around her warm neck. They held each other and cried while the galaxy watched. 5 years later, Tay stood in the main hall of the new sanctuary on Station Carenza 7. It wasn't just a station anymore. It had become a home for lost children of every species. Orphans, runaways, anyone who needed help could come here. Ember was beside him, now fully grown and magnificent. She was as large as a small house, her red scales gleaming like rubies. But she was still the same scared hatchling inside, the one who had asked if she could sleep there one night. A small Vexian child approached them, trembling and alone. Excuse me, the child whispered. I got separated from my family. Can I stay here? Tay knelt down and smiled. Ember lowered her great head next to his. Together they spoke as one. Always. The child started to cry with relief. Tay picked them up gently while Ember wrapped her wing around them both. Outside the windows, ships came and went. The galaxy continued spinning. But here, in this small sanctuary, something simple and perfect was happening. A family was growing, one lost child at a time. The end.